Hey, one reason I've enjoyed working with Workspace so much is really because of sort of the teacher piece here in terms of grading and submitting work. Um, so on your home screen here for Workspace, when you click Workspace, you're going to see this. Basically, if it's a green workspace, it means that it's published. Okay, you'll see that status here, but also that students obviously have access to it. It's something that's live right now. If it's gray, this is the testing one I've been working with for the screencasts. It's unpublished. Okay, but you'll also see some of these gray ones down here, and you'll see that students have been working on them. These are published ones that I've actually pulled off. So these are things that I can save and republish or copy in the future with a different class. And again, I've got a bunch of those going on there for this year already. Um, but really, let's look at a green one here, for example. So here's a project that we did, notes for colonies. You'll see here a checkbox saying that all my students had started it. That means they've all opened it. They have a copy in their drive and they've made some edits to it. You'll see on some of these other ones, I have a few students that hadn't worked on this, and other ones where, again, they've all started. So you'll see either the check mark that they've all started, or you'll see maybe, again, 18 out of 23 or whatever your sort of ratio is there of students started. And you can look and click on that then and see which students haven't started so you can touch base with them. Um, Again, all of these can basically be clicked on. So if you want to see, let's say for these colony notes, which students are overdue, you click on the overdue, and I see this whole list here of students that are overdue. Now, part of that's usually because they forget to submit it. Here are the ones that have submitted their work. And then down here, you can kind of peek at different sort of where they're at. So you can kind of peek at their document easily that way. If I go back to the home page though, you can also look at it, and if we click on those that are submitted, okay, we'll see that same screen. I don't love looking at it this way. I would rather sort of look at it um, in terms of the actual workspace. When I open it and I see the submitted work here, I can click on it and I can see those students more easily. I like to see it this way. So I can see the started work here, and these are actually their documents. So you can hover over them and kind of get a peek of what they have completed. It's a nice quick way to see, okay, that student started, like this student doesn't have much done. The student is still getting there. Again, you can kind of see how much extra is filled in for, kind of quickly on each of these. We can also click on them and it'll open their document right away for you so that you could add comments um, and those sorts of things. And I like to look at it this way because I can kind of, like I said, hover over it and just get a peek without actually having to open the document and see where they are. I can tell just by hovering over some of these that some of these students are done and they just didn't submit the work, which is not a big deal. This is again, notes for a project we're working on still. But that's a nice way you can kind of peek at student work really easily within the Hapara without having to go through your dashboard. And here I can see the submitted work. In an earlier podcast, I think I talked about how you can give it back to them. And if you check here, this is how you would do it. So on the submitted work, I click that little check. Then I can return it for edit. So if the student needed to finish, or return the final, meaning I can return it to her and it's done if I have grades or comments to put with it. Um, but that's, again, a nice way to sort of be able to see, grade, add comments to all the student work as we go. Again, it's kind of your preference. I like to do it this way by actually going into the workspace itself by just clicking on the workspace. Some people, though, I'm sure preference-wise, would want to see it this way, where you can kind of see everything at once. And again, you can kind of get an idea. Okay, you can open it here too, but you don't get that hover aspect where you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. I have to click here and then I have to open the folder or the document to see it. Now I can also do the return for editing here. So these are students that have submitted. I can return for edit or return for final through this too. I can open it through here. So you have all the same options. The only option again you're missing that I like as opposed is just being able to again kind of hover and see what they're doing on it and see what it looks like, how full it is or whatever it might be. Obviously you can't read it, but you can get an idea in terms of content, what's there. But again, that's kind of how you can look, grade, and get an idea of what's submitted and what's late based on your workspace itself. And again, this is how you would look. This would be kind of your home page, so you'll be able to see it all at once really easily, and get an idea. Again, those students that are overdue need to submit, students that have submitted, students that maybe haven't started down here, for example, ones that haven't started. And then I don't often return them as final. I just make edits and the kids kind of look at them. But that is an option as you get more used to it. So again, that's one of the reasons I really enjoy and have enjoyed using the workspace because it's all right here. Similar again to Google Classroom, but I again find it nice to have everything in one place here. It's also easy for kids to navigate because as I unpublish these or pull them back, these disappear from the student view, so things don't get buried as easily. I felt like on Google Classroom things got buried all the time for students, and I just felt like this has worked better so far. But yeah,